Happy Sunday evening to everyone out there watching this episode of A Gray State Truth. I'm hoping that my microphone is working. I know that I switched over, so give me just a second. Let me make sure all is good to go. I think my Rift audio is actually picking up more than this. Okay, there we go. All right, so welcome everyone to A Gray State Truth. This evening we're going to be covering narcissistic personality disorder. And we're going to go through the journal, bits and pieces of it after I explain the symptoms or characteristics of someone with narcissistic personality disorder. And so let me go ahead and pull that up and make sure that we're showing that on screen. All right. So I'm going to scroll down because, well, you know what? We'll go through this whole thing. It says, ever wondered what it would be like to live with, work for, or be governed by someone who is both narcissistic and paranoid? That's kind of the paranoia kind of goes along with many factors of David's thought process and many things that are in the journal as well. I was asked this question after I wrote an article here at Psychology Today on how narcissists see themselves, having spent 4 decades apprehending and researching the kinds of people who do the most harm to society. I believe that a closer look at these individuals merits our attention. I have combined here, in no particular order, some of the key traits of the narcissistic personality and the paranoid personality as defined in my book, Dangerous Personalities. This list of descriptive statements is simple to use in learning more about whether an individual such as this may be present in your life. If a statement applies because you have personally witnessed the behavior in person, you have in mind, put a check mark next to it. There are 80 statements, and not every statement will necessarily apply to any one individual. Some statements may seem similar. That is intentional. Read each statement carefully, but only check the ones that apply and that you have personally witnessed. And so we're going to go through those when it comes to the journal. Now, I am not a psychologist, and this is not any type of medical advice. However, there are several symptoms that I see in here, and anyone can do this, whether it's someone you know, someone you don't know personally, whatever the case may be. And so this is just a video pointing out things that I personally have seen. Um, and so here we go. It says, here's a combined checklist that describes key traits of the narcissistic personality and the paranoid personality. Ponder each statement carefully before including it in your final tally. All right. And so I'm wanting to see if this gives me an option to mark things, and it doesn't, unfortunately. I thought it did, but it doesn't. So we'll figure it out as we go along. All right, so it says here, let me move back over to this here. It says projects self-importance beyond position, experience, or what has been duly earned or deserved. Now, let's ask ourselves when it comes to the Gray State movie that he was attempting to put out. And the video that he did talking to himself regarding the importance and that he made this film, that it was all him, the experience that he has, and what he deserves or what he's duly earned. This is 100%, and that I don't believe was in the journal. when it came to the statements that he made in the video, it was in the documentary. Number 2, has a grandiose idea of who he is and what he thinks he can achieve. Well, we all know that, again, with the statement that he made in towards the mics, the video where he was practicing what he was going to say to them. He had a very grandiose idea of himself, as well as in his journal. You'll hear him talk about himself in very high standards. In lots of the interviews that he did, he talks about himself in a very high regard, in a very grandiose regard of what he can do and what he can achieve. Where he says, first of all, before this became a thing, I had such and such followers, and now I have this, and all of this and that. Number 3, often talks about his need to lead, to be in charge, or to exercise power. And we all know that he was a very take charge person. His friends have said that, people that have worked with him have said that. And so he even talks about this himself in his journal. And we're going to go through the journal and kind of point those things out. Number 4, requires and seeks excessive admiration from others. So again, in the journal, he says that the whole town is a charity case, and people need this, and they're coming to him for this and this and that. That he's the one that has all the answers, and so there again, he's requiring and looking for that admiration from everyone else around him. Number 5, has a sense of entitlement, expecting to be treated as someone special or given priority at all times. Again, that's several places in the journal as well. Number 6 is interpersonally exploitive of others for personal gain. This whole town is a charity case. All these people want and want and want for me, and they're mooching, and they want this and they want that, and so on and so forth. It's, here it is. And then he wants to get rid of them before he heads off to Hollywood. And so he exploited all of these other people for his own gain to toss them to the side in the end. Lacks empathy and is unable to recognize the needs or suffering of others. Absolutely. Including his own child. And we'll get to those parts as well. Number 8 is often envious of others or believes others are envious of him. Again, that goes along with, everybody in the city's at that charity case. And, they're all coming to me for answers, and, I have to do this and I have to do that. Number 9 is an arrogant and haughty in behavior or attitude. Absolutely. This entire journal, once I start reading it, you're going to be able to pull out so many different ones here. Number 10 has a tendency to see his problems as unique or more acute than anyone else. Yeah, yep. Number 11 has an exaggerated sense of privilege that allows him to bend rules and break the laws. Number 12 is hypersensitive to how he is seen or perceived by others. Yes. Number 13, interacting with this individual leaves you irritated, troubled, worried, upset, or anxious. Number 14, tends to overvalue himself and his capabilities and almost all things. Number 15, makes a point of devaluing others as being inferior, incapable, or not worthy. We know this is very true here. Number 16, has demonstrated little sympathy or empathy for others, nevertheless expects others to show him endless empathy and support. Number 17 is considered to be or acts like a bully. Number 18, deep emotions appear to be difficult for him to comprehend. Seems emotionally detached at times when deeply felt emotions are most needed. Number 19, has a need to control others and demands total loyalty at all times. Number 20, repeatedly has violated boundaries of rules, privacy, secrecy, or social decorum. Number 21, only sees his own problems and repeatedly ignores the problems or struggles others may have. Number 22, has angry reactions to minor slights, seems to always have an axe to grind. Number 13, seems to lack altruistic qualities. Everything is done for a selfish purpose, rarely does anything for the good of others. Number 24, is very thin skinned, and any criticism is considered a personal attack. Number 25, sees goodness as a weakness. Number 26, has a need to habitually inflate personal accomplishments, deeds, or experiences. Number 27, when criticized, seems insecure and tends to lash out with anger or rage. Number 28, acts imperious, not wishing to know what others think, have planned, or are concerned about. Remember, he said that these people are coming to them with this hashed up version of the gray state, and blah blah blah. I'll hire you. Yeah. Number 29, devalues people who work for him without consideration for their feelings, loyalty, or sacrifices. Yeah. Number 30, is disinterested in knowing more about you and others and lacks normal curiosity in others. In essence, he only likes to talk about himself. Number 31, at times displays a certain coldness or aloofness that makes you think you really don't know the true measure of this person. Number 32, is inappropriately boastful in accomplishments and does so with frequency. Number 33, doesn't ever seem to feel guilty about anything he has done wrong and is unlikely to apologize or to show remorse. Number 34, sees those who disagree with him as enemies. Number 35, has resorted to cheating, conning, scheming, embezzling, or other criminal activity to achieve success. Number 36, is a wound collector, constantly looking for and ruminating on social slights and grievances, which he never forgets. Number 37, is often rigid, unbending, and insensitive in his thinking and speaking. Number 38, tries to overcontrol what others do or think, including his own wife. Number 39, demonstrations of empathy are short term, superficial, or self serving. Number 40, doesn't seem to reciprocate the attention, gratitude, or kindness of others. Number 41, seems to lack tenderness, passion, or softness. Everything is seemingly tension producing or threatening in his life. And what does he say about his own child? This comes right here. Number 42, uses insults to establish superiority, dominance, or control. Number 43, becomes indigent when others fail to show absolute loyalty or when they publicly disagree with him. Yeah, remember he started blocking people from his Facebook page? Number 44, one of these words usually applies to him: snobbish, disdainful, arrogant, or patronizing. Number 45, is unwilling to acknowledge his own mistakes, wrongdoings, bad ideas, or peerless actions. Number 46, believes that others are always seeking to exploit or harm him in some way. Number 47, sees nothing wrong with lying and co opts others to lie for him. Lying for him is a way of life. Number 48, holds grudges for a long time and is not forgiving of slights, even after many years. Number 49, he habitually questions the intentions of others and has shown to be distasteful of a spouse, intimate relations, family, or workmates. Hello, family or workmates. See, Kamel was his golden object, and he was able to manipulate her very much. unfortunately. And so that is kind of why he was like he kept her around, um, because she was that golden object. Number 50 is quick to anger or has been described as having a very short fuse. Number 51 at times is jealous with little or no justification. Number 52 feels the need to be guarded, secretive, devious, and scheming, or thinks others around him are that way. Number 53 is reluctant or unwilling to entertain alternative views, readily dismisses them. Number 54 sees self as a victim of one or more of these things: life, society, foreigners, minorities, government, family, workers, conspiracies, cabals, etc., etc. Number 55 does not hesitate to insult others publicly, to debase them, or to engage in ad hominem attacks. Number 56 is incapable of truly relaxing and seems to be constantly guarded, almost always serious, lacking in humor and joy. Number 57 constantly looks for signs that others are conspiring or planning something against them. Wow, kind of sounds like the whole injustice group over there. Number 58 claims that past failings at work or in relationships have been the fault of others. He is never at fault. Number 59 claims to have perfect recall of events and facts when in fact the information is often faulty, exaggerated, or biased. Number 60, his thoughts, beliefs, and prejudices are rigid and inflexible, and he becomes truculent or combative when challenged. Number 61 is needlessly preoccupied with unjustified doubts about the loyalty of others. Number 63, there is a generalized anxious feeling of pending doom or that some sort of unspecified harm will befall him. Number 64 seems to view the world in a general seems to view the world in general as a place where one needs to be on guard at all times and that others are generally out to get you or will lie and deceive. Number 65 often has an unrelenting one track mind about this or that issue and can't seem to let go. Number 66 insists that only he has a clear understanding of the threats that are out there, and in his view, there are many. Number 67 is overly demanding, pedantic, or arrogant. Number 68 is highly inflexible in his thinking and stubbornly refuses at times to recognize facts. Number 69 tends to be unromantic, lacking tenderness or empathy in his interpersonal relations. I can't even say that word. Relations. There we go. Number 7 is distrustful of people who are different because of religion, ethnicity, place of birth, socioeconomic status, or because they are minorities. I can't add this one because he did have an ethnic wife. Number 71 is all too often hostile, stubborn, or defensive. Number 72 seeks to surround himself with people who only think as he does, other true believers as defined by Eric Hoffer, or who contribute to groupthink. Number 73 makes it a habit to frighten others or to make others fear for their safety or well being by vilifying someone or a group of people. Wonder what that group of people was. Number 74 often and systematically overvalues himself at the expense of devaluing others. 75 for him, propaganda and deception are more important and useful than truth. 676 is not above using or permitting others to use violence to quell dissent. Number 77 relishes having an enemy to focus on and blame for when things go wrong. Number 78 believes there's always a conspiracy or an individual trying to undermine him. Number 79 recognizes almost instinctively that hate is useful as it unites people in a common cause. Number 80, truth and facts are whatever he spews out at any given moment without regard for facts, reality, truth, or actuality. Mendacity is not an occasional occurrence, it's a way of life. So it says here if you checked all 60 or more, in all likelihood, you're looking at an individual who inherently distrustful and rigid in his thinking and who also tends to overvalue himself at the expense of others. That is a very toxic combination. All right, so let me grab a drink real quick and then I will be right back. All right, so now we're going to get into the journal. And here we go. All right, so April of 2014 says fear of writing. Suppose that's a fear of everything. Look, I'm on an iPhone and I don't feel like spell checking everything again. I hope this gets easier with an iPad. This is a life report since I suspect my feelings right now in nostalgia or reflection might be of value. So the point is to write. A lot of things to be afraid of here. Grades, judgment. This will never be an aster as good as what I used to write. This is the epicenter of fear. I can't even I can't even out anything down write anything down on paper. And I said this to myself in a litany and self-deception as I pennied two completely different drafts of what the hulking wretch of a project Gray State. Did you ever get sick of hearing about it? Christ, poor miserable fuck, no one believes you. Except for all the people who did and still do. I suppose confession is important on some psychological level, but perhaps this will spoil the tone for every following entry. God, negative Nancy, got to soul yourself to see. Anyway, strengthen the skills, branch the mind, open what is closed. Tendrils, do you see them? What use of space? Understand your life will me if you do not lose the fear. So write every day and expand your craft. God, the world still goes unwritten, and there are no end to the possibilities or combinations. So write all the time. This thing will make it so easy. But you suppose autocorrect will ruin much where the day ends. So don't stress about what comes out. Just fire it open and wire every day now. So, what happened the past week? Ronnie said some things. Roast beef and awful fries. I have been telling her the story of the werewolf. She calls it a werewolf. That's been that's been going well. Sorry, meeting a lot of neighbors. Paleo on walks. He's a great boy. Still a lad and growing handsome. He's been sleeping on me all day. Not in, but this dipshit program can't select letters to delete. Okay, this is getting hard. Lion King is on. Ronnie wants chips. All right. And so this is just kind of the beginning part of this journal. Him getting used to writing in it. Um, Not really many feelings in here other than him kind of putting himself down a little bit, which is also, part of narcissistic personality disorder. It's not just thinking you're better than everyone else. You also have, points of putting yourself down because in reality, narcissism has several masks. You have the mask when you're outside in front of everyone and you're just this nice, great person, the perfect dad, the perfect husband, so on and so forth. But behind closed doors, you have this other mask. And it's pretty much you're trying to overcompensate. You know the shitty life that you have. You know the depression that you have. You know that it's all just a mess. Your life is just a complete mess. And it gets more in depth as we go along. So Monday, same day, April 14th at 9:50 p.m. He says, "I'm going through depression as part of my personality switch, like a hard restart. Nothing is anything anymore." So he's acknowledging this depression and this personality change, which is very big. Um, and you can also see the PTSD that's starting to come through in some of the posts. All right, so Tuesday, April 15th at 10:16 p.m. Today is about parenting, I would guess. Learning balance, the stupidity of individual drive over the inherent needs of a young human. The best side is winning. So, the stupidity of individual drive. To see the nonsense of ego driven parenthood, shallow if imposition and negation, to service no one but the rules themselves, distant as Allah. To leave leftover nuts on the table, the chocolate and other desirable contents left on the tabletop, only almonds and a few walnuts. And there are left there to serve as a buffer for the next snack. Finish your nuts, the imperial trumpet of justice. But this contest of will over the forgotten nuts goes unnoticed by Ronnie, who goes about her long, long day without ever knowing, while the leftover sour of the old almonds found my mood. My God, but to have a happy child, one satisfied within her orientation toward the rules, and to find a challenge at the rules and with my contest for a budding personality, but instead a wrecked, wretched, buried in emotional distance. Camille has forgiven me. I may not. So Tuesday, April 15th at 10:29. He says Camille came, so I stopped writing. April 17th at 5:15. Doesn't matter what's get written as long as it happens. Get the crap out now. Been working at Morse code, which is the best possible job I could have in my field of freelance videography. Come to think of it, how the fuck was that even on my radar? Just a way to make money that got out of control after costing a lot of money. Well, it made possible many things, including this skill set, which is earning me $75 an hour. I forget that I have a ton of valuable skills and no time to become an expert at everything. I've had enough. So I get to work with a lot of self important 30 something coiffed poofs who breeze around being polite. What a prison. It's really hard to put up with, even though I'm making more by April there than I've made since the army. Dirt, it's been a learner. Hence the journaling again. Ends, be a writer or something. Is that a job? Well, whatever. You're a filmmaker now with a ton of experience and skills and understanding. But damn, son, it's time to get off the pot. Finish your shit and get to LA. Paleo scratched Ronnie today. Ronnie likes to hide his toys, so he chews hers and then has to be punished. She sets these traps for him. Here we go, blaming. Bizarre warfare. Paleo doesn't understand at all. He grows, she grows. I shrivel and look somewhere else. I see so many things to. So he's basically just kind of pushing it off to the side. He doesn't care. He has no kind of remorse here. But it happens at such a crushingly slow pace. But for now, the money is good. It could have been a far sight worse after 10 house move. I am learning to feel gratitude and a better understanding of the size of the privilege pile I sit on. What a privileged family, and we hang out with all these bums. How's come no one checks you out and says, no, bro, you're doing it wrong? I shudder to think all their messes are bigger than mine. So mine go unnoticed. What a psychological wasteland. And here we go with this one thing of him saying, oh God, his problems are larger than everyone else's, or, their problems are bigger, or, he's better than all of these people. That's that grandiose behavior right there. Hanging out with hanging out in Adina makes notes for a GS Climax rewrite tonight. Seems like a juvenile approach to a film. See these rich people? Watch what happens when we take their shit away. Oh well, get it done at least. People like it that way. Leave finesse for then your experience is tempered enough to actually make it. Burp, anyways, other things. Still in an existential fetal position, but getting through it, feeling sorry for himself here. Doesn't matter what you have, as it turns out. If you're not happy, then you're just not. Pretty dumb. So here we go. Easter at the Andersons. It is what it is. Nice people, good food, but not much actual contact, at least with us. What can you do? That's just kind of who we are. So, he wants to put this happy type of mask on in front of these people, but he's, even acknowledging here that he doesn't have anything in common with these people. So why, that's kind of who he is, or what he's made his family to be. It's nice being freelance. Camilla's my recon element, tells me how traffic is, and sometimes I have a long morning. Paleo is getting his morning nap on my lap, so I'm stuck with my journal. Morning journal, not ideal. I haven't had any thoughts yet. How about feedback? Well, every morning I wake up a little pressured, lots to do. Already knowing that I want to get done will not be, and I have to put up with things for the time being. Too negative, not enough life happening. Although thugs are better, started CrossFit with Camille last night. Girl kicks some ass, going faster by the end. She's going to grow up well. It's Camille's night to put Ronnie away, and she's giving hell. Squeals and nonsense, desperate laughter to pretend bedtime isn't upon her. Poor Camille, today was a hard day. Full work docket and then a bad CrossFit session. Fucking bear crawls and stuff in body armor. We're sore. She took a long bath while I cleaned up, did the dishes. My first response is some weird disinterest. Dumb. Another bad habit I caught. So I got the bed all ready to go. It's only 10. So it's a full body massage night. Oh man, she's going to love it. Nice and easy after that. But it's been a while since I perfumed the bed. Got some ambient music going. Okay. Ronnie's desperate laughter. God, I don't even look up. No help from me. Set for the turnaround. But oh, there she goes. She's seen the room by now. Time to get my shit in gear. CrossFit after work and many hours of writing thrown in. Good day, sleep time. Every time you don't do something or avoid something, remind yourself, oh, yeah, I'm not afraid of that anymore. Know and embrace your achievements. Live without fears, obtain one objective, know one purpose, and everything in your way is something to challenge and refine you. Love and live happy. Make the best decisions, think only as fast as you feel, and a little faster than what you write. Otherwise, you can't keep anything. Know and respect your talents. Hone it with humility and passion. Heal all things in cycles. The real challenge will begin now. It's not that I'm not ready, it's the opposite. No challenge has yet bested me, but I fear heavyweight championship. But I need not climb the ladder like others. There are 1,000 roads that lead to Rome. Don't look to the side at the achievements of others and find yourself in contests. We all want the same thing, and why not? Spare your hatred. Live not in anger. These are brothers of fear. Don't be consumed. Live freely. Reverse the slow. Whose soda? I don't know. Whose soda it would be magnificent. Good things are going to happen, and you must accept this. Awaken hope, accomplish, and you can always imagine a way to stop yourself. But this time, don't. So, again, that grandiose behavior here. Tonight's lesson might be this and only this: be positive and love everyone. Derp. But listen, these ways of stealing the universe's positive energy and claiming it as your own and serving the ego shit don't work. It don't fucking work. No adult does that. No real man. Recognize your worth, your talents, but be humble to the source of all things and be one. Achieve your vision not with might, but with sharpened clarity. Be positive. Hate no one. Mature writing is born of the ability to make people feel good. This is your magic. Learn it, learn it, learn it. Camilla's here. We are young. We will be dead at any moment, for God's sake. Spend your days making her feel good. Notice he doesn't put his own child in here. You're God's gift to her. You're God's gift to her. Here we go. Don't be a dud. Leave a positive impression on everyone you meet, like a perfume. Ronnie. Daddy, no one likes you because you're an old monster. No one likes you. They only like mommy and me because you're old and you make me gross food and gross snacks and you hit my toys and get me gross house. Can you leave and let me drive home by my alone? Here it is. He's blaming her for these feelings. I don't think she really said this um at all. I think it's something that he conjured up in his mind, and it fuels that resentment he has. A little hill. Camilla's out for pad thai. We look back soon on our own extravagance with wonder. Warm house, a glowing happy floor treated my priority today among a list of other completed projects. Whoop de fucking do. Like, this is his home. This is his family. And he's showing no empathy or anything towards, what he has. Like, this warm house and this glowing happy floor that's treated and all of that. Like, what do you fucking do? But you know what? Low light thunder, soft sounds of feeder. Did you hear that? Did you enjoy that in there, you poor lost twib? Maybe you did. Maybe that'll be the best thing you could do on a Sunday. Here's the story. There was a stone at the end of the driveway. It sat there for a long time until nobody remembered who put it there. Eventually, even the dogs forgot about it. It wasn't that it was an ugly rock. Whoever put it there had a purpose, certainly, after all. It wasn't anything a truck or at least two men hadn't put there on purpose. Here at the end of the driveway, Huron Street's discreet residents had a different experience than the owner of the driveway, which was long and crept back into the trees, leading a sinister path through the neglected trees, up steps, and into a black house, through the gray rooms, and ultimately to the room looking west, back to the road, where the man no one had seen for years looked far to the end of the driveway, to where the troll sat waiting. Just thinking today how in Hohenfels 2005, I was moving a 120 bipod legs through knee-deep snow with a couple of blundering incompetents, or so I thought then. For a moment I was yelling at meat, a hopeless expression of locked up mind stuck among fools. Not that way, not that way. Why are you listening? Why aren't you listening? I've taken physics. After the legs tangled and I had to do the heavy lifting to fix the physics thing caught on for a while. I hated the scorn, but was relieved that one of my first things in the platoon wasn't worse. Well, Crowley's taking physics. I don't know, man. Talk to Crowley. He's taking physics. Man, if I were a man, strong and smart, but without the ego bluster that went unchallenged to myself, a fear of weakness at all times. So I pricey strength without realizing maybe it's actual strength. I have a hard time seeing the good in myself. That's why I've been trying to watch old accomplishments again and remember where I've come from. Back in '05, all of these challenges lie ahead of me, and there I was, one PFC frustrated with the consequences of his choices not to go to college. By the way, that one had to do with fear as well. Didn't want to experience those kind of things. Wasn't altogether frustrated with shook as I recall, but the promise of freedom must have been alluring. I remember it now. Green June. Then what? Who knew? But who cares? We are young and beautiful and heirs apparent. How many once focus built something for that 30-year wisdom turnaround? We will see. The light will change, but it's still beautiful. I feel a need for a synchronization with the past. Perhaps I will do that, and one day the script will be done and I will have peace. Then some love into the dock, and that will happen. It's time to focus. Bring it closer to the surface. Passion for experience, and what a black hole I've left behind me. Understand it doesn't take long to deny life, long enough to the point where there's not enough I draw upon for momentum. Life is happiness. It is the point. The dog stretching for a better please in the sun. Not something to be delayed indefinitely while you annihilate yourself to get back to it. The only and best gift we can give our young ones is to discern tier talents and guide them into the right path. Clarity and resonance of purpose and potential, we provide the circumstance and opportunity. Every kid must have one, not rock star realities, but some unique tone of perfect unification of purpose. What's that? What's mine? Sorry. Fluggus said once, after a fight where I roundly best him, made his nose bleed, Crowley fights himself, and again people seek a way to get at me. Here we go with the blaming. Even though I won and I was likely to win again, I fight myself, denying my own happiness, but spinning my wheels in the mud with effort and achievement in my chosen field. But nothing now will change the fact that I will deny every moment of happiness in the service of mindless effort. Heaving, whomping wide, swinging effort because I'm a tough bastard. Look, see, now don't mess with me. Please leave me alone. And I've gotten too far in my career for my self hate to exist simultaneously. It stays and I keep quiet, reflective life, but no flashy achievement, eventually swallowed by the exonomy. I fight my own potential with my potential. Slow down. It's easy. Life and success can't be hard. Those idiots have it. Now put this story together like a man. Move outward and forward and achieve. I mean, this whole journal is full of those grandiose types of things here, and devaluing others by using these horrible names. You know what I mean? Like, I fear not having nice things. Talk about that. A man awoke one day, fully alive, to find himself locked in the expressionless glass case of his body. Events, experiences, phenomena carried no meaning, no nourishment for the soul. An automated existence where once was wit, warmth, and wonder. A note: shoring up riches against the fear of financial failure has not gained an ounce of confidence from it. Learned early. These things have no meaning. Meaning is in moments, not the facts of calculation, mortgage security, and stability. Have now, be now, save and prepare, but live today. Live and play, and remember you are here now where you are supposed to be. Life of an introvert. Hint. Life and social experiences are not necessary because we have already calculated the dozens of possible outcomes and analyzed our happiness level afterward and decided a neutral approach would conserve the most energy. So, not feeling anything or having any type of empathy, social experiences, life, it's kind of pointless because it would conserve energy, which we need to run our warm cores of flower source of life. So no meaning or pleasure could be gathered because life and all its negativity is highlighted in red had been prepared in a smug report by a crooked old tinkerer who has calculated with a dusty room of old standby tools, well worn and well maintained. May 1st, I have to learn I do not constantly act as if one day I will return to combat. There's a great wash of emotional tangle. Combat fitness maintained to infinity. Some lingering guilt to relearn mortar ballistic tables, God, weapons, and load rotations, ready to go 10 different ways at the drop of a hat. How exhausting. You never out it behind you. You never put it behind you. The panic of not being in control, of trying to escape idiots, finally making it, and then again surrounded by idiots instead of a focused professionals like me. Woohoo! Hello. What is this? He's angry because in the army he's not in control. The sergeants are in control. And so they're the idiots because he's a seasoned professional. He's a focused professional. And so he's putting these people down because they're trying to control, what he's doing. But they're idiots. And he's the focused professional. Like, Here we go. Don't moan and self pity and don't self congratulate. Just witness what has occurred and moved on. Hold on. So, like, don't show this mask. Don't congratulate yourself for being a focused professional. Just look at it and move on. Because if you say something, you're going to get your ass chewed out in the army. That's pretty much how it goes. I go to meet Ronnie at school and play with her and take her out to lunch. Later, she runs afoul of Kamel when she comes home, and Kamel sends her to her room. She wails miserably while Kamel gives her a clinical series of reasons why this is important to break her this way. And I insist she go heal her, help her. She's the one who sent her there. I didn't want to undermine anything. Wish to God I was the one who went in there. Because after a cold and sterile encounter, Ronnie recovered from the emotional pendulum as scheduled, and now they're best friends, and they're both mad at me. When Camilla's like this, she's cold for a few days before she'll even talk about it. I had better find something else to do tonight. So, here we go, blaming a child for the, distance between him and his wife there. So here's the infamous photo that I used to superimpose the footprint that was in blood on the floor. So if you wanted to see that, it is clearly right here. Check and see if we have any comments right now. Here. No, we don't. All right, so let's continue. I'm only going to do a few more of these, and then we'll probably finish off tomorrow because I got to get kids in the tub. Midnight writing with Paleo. I was doing some yoga earlier and he was hanging out with me. No big deal. But on a pile of pillows I pulled out of the linen closet before yoga, there he splays like a comatose sultan. But as I got into the balanced postures, here he comes, creeping and crawling over me. Bless him. He's a smuggler and he always tries to be as close as he can. Anyway, after yoga, he follows me to the couch and is trying to get close, putting his face on my hands, etc. And Toe's sudden loud sneezes nail me one after the other. Well, he just did not care for that one bit. He sat rigidly as if nothing was not ever would be comfortable like it used to be, and he gazed at the far wall, careful not to look at me. I spoke. Why are you angry about the sneeze? Oh my goodness, buddy, I'm so sorry. I wanted to warn you, but it's hard when you have to sneeze yourself. I tried my best. I hope you can forgive me. He turns to look near, but not quite at me. Then, sure enough, there he goes off to his kennel to put himself to bed. Little fucker was pissed about the loud sneezes. But not 1 minute later, the side door clatters with his urgence, and he comes over to me, jumps back on the couch, and stares into my face, demanding an apology. He's now snoring next to me. Little bastard is just like a child, can't get away with anything anymore. Fuck you all. Fuck you, that all. I've been writing Gray State all day. So he's apologizing to the dog for sneezing. Okay. It's been a busy week writing Gray State, polishing it up for final looks. Yikes. Feel like I'm drowning just below the surface, trying to stay focused for final thrusts. Well, you know how it goes. You're a goddamn writer, and by the time you read this again, the whole nightmare will be over. Here we go. A lot of emotional turbulence coming in for a landing. Understandings and connections. Oh, I see. David, have you checked lately if your father ever wanted you? No, of course he didn't. And neither do you. Want Ronnie, that is. So he's acknowledging right here. No, of course your dad didn't want you. And neither do you. Want Ronnie, that is. So he doesn't want Ronnie. Says that. He says, of course, it's a terrible thing to admit, but what gain is a father who provides but does not nourish or sustain? Nurture and play, challenge, admit to, confide in, love in old age. Follow the pattern, see it. It lives on in you. Unless your reality meets you at your circumstances and you do what no one else in your immediate family has. Embrace fatherhood. Well, Tim does a good job, but his career is nothing to speak of. But that's because he chooses things like cricket farming, for fuck's sake. So he's downing other people, their hobbies or whatever. And, he's trying to, I guess, change this. What he says is, his dad not wanting him, or not being around for his childhood, or working too much to give, whatever the case may be. And so, he doesn't want Ronnie, because this pattern of events goes on through him, or so he says. It's the poor pity me narcissistic behavior that's there. Something to consider. Am I self medicating finally and shedding symptoms of PTSD as well? So he's not asking himself if he has PTSD. He's asking if he's self medicating and shedding the symptoms of PTSD. Not a combat trauma, but there's trauma in kidnapping, right? So PTSD is PTSD, period. Dot. There's no other form of PTSD, whatever it comes from, it's still PTSD. All right, so we got through these two big posts right here. This one is kind of where he starts talking about, not wanting Ronnie. This is, the first one, the first main one that he, kind of talks about his resentment and not wanting her. And then tomorrow when we come back, we're going to look at the other posts. Um, and then also kind of dig more into this PTSD as well, because it's right here. I mean, you can't ignore this at all. It's right here. He's asking himself, is he self-medicating finally and shedding the symptoms of PTSD? It's literally right here. And so anyone out there who's saying that he didn't have PTSD, it's right here in this journal. He says it out of his mouth, or out of his pen. He's not asking if he's self-medicating for PTSD. He's not asking himself if he has PTSD. He's asking if he's self-medicating and getting rid of these symptoms of the PTSD that he has. So literally, it's all right here. You can't, you can't deny that. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and leave these screens up, and then tomorrow we're gonna come back and again look at a deeper. What happened? I'm really hoping that was up, and I don't think it was. Okay, there it is. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and move this. But anyways, make sure you check out the pages. You can always follow. Okay, I'll be there in a minute. You can always follow us on the Crowley Case Fact versus Fiction on Facebook and YouTube, and you can also find Deep State Granny on YouTube as well. And we are all on these Facebook pages as well. So, anyways, everyone have a great Sunday evening, and we will see you throughout the week for some more information. Have a good one.